Gradually reeling him in. Here's Happy Surveys hitting top gear and Colossus late. Happy Surveys, Colossus deep out. They're getting to numero uno. Colossus streaking to the lead close to home, and there's 100 winners for Neil Callan. Colossus from Happy Surveys, a metallic star rattled home to take third. Ahead of Up and Coming and a weakening numero uno. Then Noble Alpha, Tony Boy, Our Generation.
Well, how would you compare your first season here to where you are today?
Well, the first season I came here, I only came for like 3 months, so it wasn't a long period. And when I first came from my first stint here, it was always with a view of maybe 3-4 years down the line of coming here full time. So in terms of how's it gone since then, well then obviously it's gone really well because I've come back since then and come back full time, and I'm pretty happy to be staying here at the moment.
But what was the turning point? What made you decide to make a go of it in Hong Kong? Because as you know, I'm sure you know, a lot of English jockeys, even though you're Irish, have come here and they failed dismally, except for Mick Kinane.
It's not a bad name to be compared with, but Mick Kinane was quite, you know, he was pretty good. Like, you know, he's one of the best jockeys in the world.
I didn't compare you to Mick Kinane as a jockey.
Maybe you are in Hong Kong.
I just said that Mick made a go of it here and did very well for himself.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, look, you know, I suppose perseverance more than anything. You know, I hate or I don't like being not good enough at anything. So to make it here, I suppose you have to be good enough in the first place. But most important is getting the trust and getting the support from the trainers here. I think that's the biggest hurdle any jockey coming from England or Ireland or any part in Europe. And obviously, like falling in line with the culture of racing here. It's completely different to what we're used to. So,
what is the culture of racing here? How would you describe it to someone who doesn't know?
Well, it's personally, I think it's more the sharpness. It's quite sharp, it's intense, everything's fast, you know, and it's most important to have gate speed, and, you know, so I think in terms of that, I think it's your speed reactions. You have to be so much sharper than you are at home.
Did you ever think about, like, calling it quits in Hong Kong at any stage and going back, or did you just decide, because you're a stubborn kind of guy, that because you're Irish, that you will just stick it out?
I would have stuck it out for a certain period of time, whether it went either way. But depending on like the few stints that I had leading up to when I came here, like long term, you know, whether if I'd have kept getting the little bit of support each time I kept coming back, whether I didn't get that step-by-step support as I kept coming back, whether I would have come back full time, I don't know. I can't answer that. But I'm just lucky that I wanted to succeed here when I came here because the kind of bug bit me, and I liked what I saw. I love the competitiveness. You know, like each year I've come back here, there's been better and better jockeys here, and it's been harder and harder, and you know, people have perceived it to be harder and harder. But I thrive on that. I love that. I love having stiff competition wherever I am. So yeah, I feel like something like that has just made me want to keep coming back. And obviously, like the lifestyle I spend with my family, which is most important to me as well, is the time I can spend with them.
You are a family man. Can you just explain, you know, to people, family life in a hectic city like Hong Kong? How do you balance that?
When I'm in England, when I was riding, you know, I get up in the morning, my kids get up ready for school. I see them for an hour or 2 hours, and then I'd have to go sweating or the gym or whatever, and then they're gone to school. Then I'm on the road, and I don't get home till sometimes it could be midnight if I do 2 meetings. Then I don't see my kids till the next day. So I kind of see it here as a little bit easier because I get to see them every day, every morning, and then in the afternoon time, when it's time to go and pick them up from school, it's like 4 o'clock, 3:30. So there's not really much to do because I've done all my work up to like midday, whether it's finishing my track work at like 8, 9 a.m. in the morning after trials, and then I go home and I do a lot of work, groundwork on the computer, looking at horses, looking at races, and making all my phone calls to get my rides. So it gives me the rest of the day then to spend time with my wife and be able to go and pick the kids up from school.
Well, speaking about your wife, Trish, how has she settled into life in Hong Kong? I know she's doing her nails right now, but how's she settled in?
Well, if she's willing to come into Central and just float around getting her nails done, I think she looks pretty happy to me. No, she's settling really well. When we first came, she met some nice friends like Nicole Perton and Marie Preble and them and Alex Founds, and you know, she kind of mixed in quite well. And you know, I suppose having the kids to mix with them as well helps, because it gives you kind of like reason for something to do with the kids. And then she does tennis. She's quite active like me, so we kind of sometimes walk out together or go for a hike or go on the bikes or whatever. So you know, she's pretty easygoing, my wife. So I think she says she's happy. She looks pretty happy. My kids look happy, and I'm happy. So if they're happy, I'm happy. We're all happy.
Talking about happy, Blazing Speed. Tell us how that association happened, because Tony Cruz doesn't really pick his jockeys randomly. He's very careful.
Blazing Speed's drawn away inside the 200 from California Memory. Dibiani gets going. Designs on Rome won't run a place today, but Blazing Speed with the run of the race is going to storm away with the champions in Cheda. Dibiani second, California Memory third, then Bubble Chic from Designs on Rome. Next.
It was probably actually a turning point in my career in Hong Kong, getting on the horse. He was probably the one that kind of made it set in stone that I was going to come back here full time, especially for this season. But I don't know, I suppose maybe I had the Irish gift of the gab, I don't know. And I knew Mirko had to go back to Italy, and I just thought he was the ideal horse that was going to run in all the same races. And if you were to have a choice, he was the horse. So I literally just hounded Tony for weeks. He kept telling me like, oh, he'd get back to me, he'd speak to the owners, this and that. And I think I actually drove him that mad that he just gave it to me out of sufferance anyway. And listen, we were just lucky that I clicked with him, because he was quite a free, strong-going horse in races. He found it hard to settle, and he just seemed, since the first day I got on him, he just seemed to relax in these races, and he was quite fruitful for me. He's quite a good horse.
Attack just in front. Endowing runs on with Blazing Speed. Designs on Rome, but Military Attack still in front from Endowing, and Blazing Speed chiming in. Blazing Speed puts his head in front, and Blazing Speed takes out the Jockey Club Cup. He bloused out Military Attack and Endowing. Close up California Memory and Designs on Rome. Then Bubble Chic.
Getting a run, and Designs on Rome down the middle, but Blazing Speed took the lead with 150 to go. He's roaring away with the QE2 Cup, and it's a big win for Blazing Speed. Neil Callan and Tony Cruz. What a battle for the Miners. Designs on Rome packing Clara Gibbs, Stefanos and Criterion, all there for the minor end of the prize. Then Helene Superstar, followed by Helene Happy Star, California Memory, Military Attack Weekend, Smoking Sun, Red Cadeau and Same World Last In.
Seems to go better for you than any other jockey. Why do you think that is? Is he mad?
He might be as mad as me, I don't know. No, I don't know. He's just, maybe it's because I ride a little bit longer than most jockeys here. So, you know, the European style, you ride a little bit longer, you kind of sit into them a little bit more. He's a type of horse that carries his head a little bit higher than normal. And I just tend to ride him with a loose rein and drop my hands on his neck. So whether that suits him and he just just whether he just relaxes with that sort of riding or not, I don't know, but I'm glad he does.
You're also known to friends of mine that you're a very competitive jockey, and even though you and Zach are good golfing buddies and good mates, you don't give him an inch, do you? You don't give anyone an inch, right?
No, but you know, I don't expect the same either. You know, like, we're all out there, it's a business. We're all out, it's a sport, but it's a business. And we're all out there to try and win. So I've got to do the best what I can for my owners and the trainers that I'm riding for, you know, and if they're putting their faith into me to give me the rides, well then I've got to put faith in myself to do the best for them.
Blazing Speed chiming in. Blazing Speed puts his head in front, and Blazing Speed takes out the Jockey Club Cup. He bloused out Military Attack and Endowing. Close up California Memory and Designs on Rome. Then Bubble Chic.
And look, you know, it's a difficult. It's not a difficult place, Hong Kong. It's different, you know, because when you're at home in England or whether you're at home in Australia, you still have your friends, all jockeys, but you may live like an hour away, or you may live like a couple of streets or blocks down the road. They're still competitive at home, you know, but at the same time, they're still trying to win. But I think it's different here because we all live in the same building. We daily lives are all integrated, so you know it's probably a bit. Well, I don't find it difficult, but maybe some do. But look, I'm sure they'll tell you the same. We're all there trying to win, and we have to do the best for who we're riding for on the day.
That's the building of desperate housewives and desperate jockeys. Is that right? Soap opera there.
I don't know. Maybe you might set one up. It'd be a good program. Maybe, I don't know.
Could be a great reality series.
They've done one in America, I believe.
Hmm?
They've done one in America, I believe.
With jockeys?
Yes, I think so.
Don't
Not sure
worry.
if it was a success or not, but
I think the Jockey Club might have something to say about that. But anyway, you've gone through a number of suspensions, right?
yes.
And you've bounced back from them, which shows incredible resilience. I mean, what's made you, is that the Irish in you, or where you've decided not to lay down and you decided to fight things that you believe in?
Yeah, obviously, look, I believe in myself. I believe in my own ability to be able to hold my own wherever I go, whether it's here, whether in England or wherever. You know, I believe I'm good enough. I'm a good enough jockey to compete anywhere in the world. But I suppose, you know, it's like anything. I hate looking back on things. If I'm going to look back, you see, if I get a suspension for a careless thing, when I know I've done the wrong thing, then I've got no problem with holding my hand up and go back and look over it to make sure that I try not to do the same thing again. I don't care where you are in the world, wherever you ride. The law of averages and percentages is that you're going to get a certain amount of suspensions. You are. And probably more so here because we race a lot tighter, and you know the handicap system is so tight, you know, when you see like a length or 2 lengths covering a whole field. So it's very competitive, and sometimes I kind of let that competitive edge just get a little bit ahead of myself. But okay, it's not good to get suspended, but at the same time, you know, I don't see anything wrong with being competitive like that. You know, you have to have that bit of edge on you to maybe get a little bit of a head start on the others. But I am very competitive, and I always bounce back because I hate looking back. I don't like dwelling on the negatives, especially the negatives. I always try and push forward and be positive.
And all those falls that you've taken and you bounce back, where even the Chinese media call you the Iron Man, even though you don't look like Robert Downey Jr., they call you the Iron Man. I mean, just tell us a little bit about those falls. I mean, they look bad, and you've bounced back.
Yeah, they weren't pretty to fall, or they weren't pretty after or during the incident. Look, it's like anything, you know. There's always dangers, whatever sport or whatever job you do. Yeah, they were pretty hard falls, and I just find myself lucky actually that I've walked away from them. So, like I say, I don't like dwelling on the negatives or the negative side of anything. I always try and like come out and say actually, the last fall I had where one of Paul O'Sullivan's broke down quite badly with me in front, and I had majority of the field behind me, and my wife and kids were back in England. It was Easter time, so I was here on my own. And I remember when I fell, and it's quite weird because it happened so fast, but when you actually hit the ground and fall, it's like slow motion. Like that time I fell, I think I hit the ground on impact on one of my shoulders. And I remember looking back, and it was Zach's horse facing me. I was like, please don't go over me. And then I thought, when my horse went down and it took his horse with it, it avoided me. The horse behind that just galloped straight between the middle of us. And Zach ended up falling behind me and skidding into my back and pushed me forward. And I remember my ankle was quite bad, but I just jumped up, realized I was okay, and the horses had all gone past. And the first thing I just thought to myself was, thank God I can see my kids and my wife when they're back, you know? But that's just an instant reaction, and you know, it just goes to show how close or how important my family are to me. And listen, it's like anything, these things happen, but the most important thing is that you get back up and you go back to what you do best and what you love doing.
If you had to give advice to any rider coming to Hong Kong, what would it be?
It's a slow process, or it can be a slow process. There's some jockeys come here and just took off from the off. But you just gotta persevere. You know, if you're coming here from a different country and you're like top in your country, don't come here expecting it to land on your lap, because it won't. You've just gotta get your head down, be honest, try your best, and just keep at it. That's all you gotta do.
Okay, let's play 10 questions. I give you a name, you say the first thing that comes to mind.
We've just done about 10 questions, haven't we?
No, but no, but like, just go along with this, will you?
Okay.
So, Zach Burton,
Champion jockey.
Joe Moreira,
Brazilian jockey.
Douglas White,
South African jockey.
Tony Cruz,
A legend.
Richard Gibson,
Eccentric.
Ricky Yu,
Good fella.
Hong Kong,
Great place.
Hong Kong racing,
Excellent.
family,
Very important.
Gradually reeling him in. Here's Happy Surveys hitting top gear and Colossus late. Happy Surveys, Colossus deep out. They're getting to numero uno. Colossus streaking to the lead close to home, and there's 100 winners for Neil Callan. Colossus from Happy Surveys, a metallic star rattled home to take third. Ahead of Up and Coming and a weakening numero uno. Then Noble Alpha Tony Boy, Our Generation.